Picture the Pacific Ocean, a vast blue expanse, stretching further than the eye can see, its surface shimmering under the sun. This is the world's largest ocean, covering nearly a third of our planet. Dotted across this immense sea are thousands of tiny islands, each one a unique home to vibrant cultures, languages, and traditions that have thrived for generations. For centuries, people around the world wondered, how did anyone ever reach these remote specks of land, separated by such daunting distances? There were no land bridges, no easy paths, just endless water, stretching for hundreds, sometimes thousands of kilometers. Yet thousands of years ago, people achieved the impossible. They crossed the world's largest ocean to settle these islands, guided only by their knowledge of the sea and sky. Oceania is divided into three main regions: Melanesia, meaning black islands, Micronesia, or tiny islands, and Polynesia, the many islands. Each region is a world of its own. Each region has its own story of arrival, survival, and adaptation, shaped by the challenges and gifts of the ocean. These journeys weren't accidents, they were planned, deliberate expansions into the unknown, requiring courage, skill, and a deep understanding of nature. Ancient mariners, master boat builders and navigators, set out with families, plants, and animals, braving the unknown. They carried not just supplies, but hopes for new beginnings. Their migrations began tens of thousands of years ago, as people from Southeast Asia moved into near Oceania, places like New Guinea and Australia, marking the first great wave of human exploration in the Pacific. Even with lower sea levels during the Ice Age, these journeys required crossing open water, sometimes with no land in sight for days. This was the start of a deep, lifelong relationship with the sea, a bond that would define their way of life, their stories, and their survival. These early explorers set the stage for even more daring voyages, pushing humanity's boundaries further than ever before and inspiring generations to come. The Pacific became a highway, not a barrier, a vast network connecting distant lands and peoples. Their courage, ingenuity, and deep respect for nature would shape the cultures of Oceania for millennia, leaving a legacy that endures to this day. The story of Oceania is the story of the world's greatest and often unsung explorers, people whose achievements rival any in human history. And for these first explorers, their journey was just beginning, a journey that would forever change the face of the Pacific and the story of humankind. The Lapita people were the Pacific's original trailblazers, forging a path across the ocean that would shape the history of an entire region. About 3,500 years ago, they appeared in the Bismarck Archipelago, east of New Guinea, leaving behind distinctive pottery with intricate patterns, pottery that still fascinates archaeologists today. Archaeologists find Lapita pottery on islands hundreds of miles apart, clear evidence of constant movement and exploration, and a sign of how far their influence reached. The Lapita were master seafarers, ancestors of Polynesians and many other Pacific islanders, whose skills at navigation and boat building were unmatched in their time. They took ancient seafaring knowledge and pushed it further, venturing into remote Oceania, places like Vanuatu, Fiji, Tonga, and Samoa, where no one had settled before. Crossing hundreds of miles of open ocean, they sailed into the unknown, guided by skill, courage, and a deep understanding of the stars, winds, and waves. Why did they go? Maybe population pressure, maybe adventure, or a deep urge to explore and discover new lands? Perhaps all of these at once. For 1,000 years, their pottery marks a trail of migration eastward, each shard a clue to their incredible journey. They brought crops, animals, and everything needed to start new lives, ensuring their survival and the growth of new communities on distant shores. Eventually, the Lapita pottery style faded, but their spirit of exploration endured, living on in the cultures they helped create. In Tonga and Samoa, their descendants refined their skills, perfecting canoes and navigation, and passing down knowledge through generations. These islands became the launching pad for the next great wave of exploration, setting the stage for even more daring voyages. The Lapita opened the door to the remote Pacific, making possible the settlement of some of the world's most isolated islands. Their descendants were ready to sail even farther, carrying the Lapita legacy into the farthest reaches of the Pacific Ocean. To cross the vast and unpredictable Pacific, you need a truly remarkable vessel, the Voyaging Canoe, a marvel of ancient engineering and ingenuity. These weren't just small boats, but massive, ocean-going ships, some stretching over 100 feet long, capable of carrying entire families, supplies, and even animals for journeys that could last weeks or months. Two main designs made these epic voyages possible: the outrigger canoe, with its stabilizing float for balance in rough seas, and the double-hulled canoe, which functioned like a catamaran, offering both stability and ample space for people and cargo. The double-hulled canoe was especially impressive, able to carry entire communities and withstand the immense power of the Pacific's waves and storms. Building these canoes was more than just construction. It was a community effort and a deeply spiritual act, involving the felling of huge trees, shaping them with stone tools, and lashing the parts together with strong coconut fiber. Sails, expertly woven from pandanus leaves, caught the wind and propelled these vessels across thousands of miles of open ocean. Every canoe was a masterpiece of engineering, craftsmanship, and tradition, reflecting generations of knowledge passed down through families and communities. These vessels transformed the Pacific into a vast network of connected islands, making it possible for people, ideas, and cultures to travel and thrive across immense distances. The voyaging canoe was the key to Oceania's greatest journeys, unlocking new worlds and possibilities for its people. For those aboard, it was both home and hope on the open sea, a symbol of resilience, exploration, and the enduring spirit of the Pacific Islanders. With no compasses or maps, Pacific navigators relied on their minds and the natural world. They memorized the rising and setting of hundreds of stars, creating mental star compasses to guide their way. By day, they used the sun's path; by night, the stars. When clouds hid the sky, they read the ocean swells, feeling wave patterns and detecting land by how swells bent around unseen islands. They watched birds, clouds, the color of the sky, and even the scent of vegetation. Every sign was a clue. Navigation was a symphony of observation, memory, and intuition. Master navigators trained for years, passing knowledge through generations. Their skills made the impossible possible, crossing the world's largest ocean without getting lost. After centuries in Tonga and Samoa, the descendants of the Lapita launched the Great Polynesian Expansion. Around 1,000 years ago, they set out to settle the vast Polynesian Triangle: Hawaii, New Zealand, and Easter Island. Using double-hulled canoes and expert navigation, they sailed thousands of miles, often against prevailing winds. They reached the Cook Islands, Tahiti, and from there, launched even more daring voyages. They found Hawaii after a month-long journey across open ocean. Others sailed to New Zealand's colder, stormier waters. The most astonishing feat finding Easter Island, the world's most isolated inhabited place. These were planned colonization voyages, bringing plants, animals, and people to build new societies. The Polynesians didn't just find islands, they created thriving cultures across the Pacific. Crossing the Pacific in an ancient canoe was a test of survival. There were no rescue options, just skill, planning, and luck. Voyagers packed preserved foods, coconuts, and live animals, and caught rainwater using sails. Fishing along the way was essential. The psychological challenge was immense: weeks at sea, endless blue, and the need for discipline and cooperation. The captain and navigator held absolute authority. Everyone had a role. It was a floating community where teamwork meant survival. Not every voyage succeeded. Storms, starvation, and getting lost claimed many. Oral traditions remember both triumph and tragedy. Yet the risks didn't stop them. Their determination and courage pushed them ever farther. Against all odds, they settled the most remote islands on Earth. Their achievements remain among humanity's greatest. Oceania's voyagers changed history. They explored and settled a vast ocean long before European explorers, using knowledge deeply connected to nature. Their achievements prove that innovation and genius exist everywhere. Today, Pacific Islanders reclaim this legacy, reviving traditional navigation and celebrating their ancestors' skill. The Hokulea's modern voyages proved ancient methods work. Their story reminds us of the power of observation, resilience, and harmony with nature. The Pacific was not a barrier, but a highway for the world's greatest explorers. Their spirit of adventure still inspires us to look beyond the horizon.